Deep in the heart of the ancient forest, where trees loomed like ancient guardians and darkness seeped through the tangled undergrowth, there stood a solitary cabin. Its timbers were weathered and warped, its windows clouded with grime. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, warning of the darkness that dwelled within. One stormy night, a weary traveler named Ella found herself lost in the forest. Rain lashed at her coat, and thunder rumbled ominously overhead. Exhausted and desperate for shelter, she stumbled upon the cabin, its outline barely visible through the torrential downpour. With a pounding heart, Ella pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air was stale and heavy, thick with the scent of decay. Shadows danced on the walls as she ventured further into the cabin, her footsteps echoing on the worn floorboards. As she explored, Ella noticed peculiarities. A clock frozen at midnight, its hands eerily still. Portraits with eyes that seemed to follow her every move, and a mirror that reflected a fleeting glimpse of a figure standing behind her. Unease crept up her spine, but before she could flee, a voice whispered from the darkness. "You shouldn't have come here," it hissed, chilling her to the core. Ella turned to see a spectral figure materialize, a woman in tattered garments, her face contorted with anguish. The apparition beckoned with bony fingers, pleading for release from the curse that bound her to the cabin. "Free me," she begged, her voice echoing with sorrow and longing. Ella's heart raced as she realized the truth. The cabin was a prison for tortured souls, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. The storm outside intensified, rattling the cabin's frail walls. With trembling hands, Ella searched for a way to break the curse. In a hidden compartment, she discovered a locket, an heirloom of the ghostly woman. As she clasped it in her hands, a blinding light filled the cabin, and the woman's anguished cries turned to wails of relief. The storm subsided as suddenly as it had begun, leaving Ella standing alone in the now silent cabin. The curse was broken, and the air felt lighter, devoid of the oppressive darkness that had filled the space moments before. As Ella stepped back into the forest, the first rays of dawn broke through the canopy above. She glanced back at the cabin, now peaceful and serene in the morning light. The traveler's harrowing night had ended, but the memory of the haunted cabin would linger, a reminder of the thin veil between the worlds of the living and the dead.